Hey, ladies, welcome back. So, today we're going to be talking about a topic that is very popular and it gets a really bad rap for some reason. We're going to break it down, why it is scary, naturally so, and most importantly, how to go about it, and some tips for you to, take advantage of this. Now, before I get started with that, let me just say that online dating and dating apps is something that I use in my practice with, all my clients. I encourage them to do that. Not only have 98% of my clients found their husbands and significant others online, and we're talking about perfectly normal guys from good family, 1% guys, 5% guys, 10% guys, in terms of income. Let me just say that it's totally normal and common to find perfectly normal and awesome people online. Now, I myself, I met my husband. We've been married almost 13 years. I met him online and I was 26, almost 27. We got married when I was 27. So, he's a perfectly normal, awesome guy. Okay. And yeah, there's really no reason why. Actually, there is a big reason why it is scary. Let me just start by saying that, our moms, they would tell us, like, don't talk to strangers. Don't, be careful with strangers. And that is exactly right. You should proceed with caution. And in the ideal world, we have a really big circle of friends and family that can introduce us to someone, like our cousin's best friend or whatever, right? So this isn't the ideal world. So a lot of us didn't have that situation where our circle was massive. I personally was an immigrant here in Canada, like a brand new immigrant here in Canada where I didn't know anyone. So I didn't have anyone to introduce me to anyone, right? So when you don't know a lot of people in your circle, obviously you gravitate towards online. Now, some people think that meeting someone at school or meeting someone at a bar, meeting someone at a party is any safer. Okay. Maybe, but the horror stories and all kinds of bad experiences can all come from, people that you met not online, but, offline. So again, if you don't have the ideal situation of being introduced to someone by your close circle, chances are you're going to meet people that are not in your circle, where it be at a party, where it be at school, or just anywhere, at a bar, at the supermarket, anywhere you could meet someone either amazing or someone that is a total lunatic. Okay. So it is natural to be, scared. It's nature's way of telling you that you should proceed with caution? Absolutely. In fact, this is what this video will be about. How you can be careful. Dating apps specifically, right? But what I want you to understand is that clouded judgment, being not careful, that happens whether you are dating someone that somebody introduced to you or someone online. Like the person that is not really being careful online is also not careful offline. Okay, so a lot of my clients, they have come to me with, the horror stories from someone that, they met through friends, through their close circle. Okay, so it's very important for you to understand that people are people here and in China, like offline or line, people are people. Now, when meeting strangers, naturally, obviously, you need to be more careful. You need to take it slower and need to, and this sounds like really common sense, but why are people scared of online dating? Okay. There's a huge stigma around it in some cultures. Like some of my clients have been, from India, and specifically India, right? Where the mothers were like, like, oh no, like, why are you doing online dating, right? Like, this is like, basically, you're a slut if you're doing that, right? Well, if you're being a slut online, well, I don't know, you can be a slut offline too. Okay, so I think it's time to break this stigma. And I think it's time to be careful and have a code of conduct, whether it is online or offline. So let me tell you the single biggest issue that I find in my practice with online dating. Okay. People are going into it without a framework, without a code of conduct, without a strategy, without boundaries. Okay. So why are we surprised that it's going sideways? But this also happens when you're meeting people offline all the time, literally all the time. Like the same mistakes that are being done online, they're being done offline. And naturally, goes without saying that you shouldn't be giving your address perhaps to someone you just met. Perhaps best to meet them at a place close to you on that first time or whatever. But even then, again, you could meet someone. I mean, look at the movies for example, right? Like they come from real cases, like serial killer movies, okay? Where they meet a guy at a church, okay? Because like a predator will be in a place where he can easily meet women, and over time he gains their trust. Okay, so let's not go there. Let's not go there, because that's going way off the scope. But the same issues that we see online, we see it offline, offline. So in my work, of course, I teach you feminine energy, how to remove excess masculine energy when you're dating, right? Of course, we do that. But everything you do in life has a combination of these two aspects, okay? And when I say you need a code of conduct, you need a framework or a strategy when you're going online or dating in general, like you need a plan, okay? This is your masculine container. It's the boundaries, okay? So when you go online, you're gonna need boundaries just like you need offline, offline too. Now, dating apps. This is not a video where I'm gonna tell you which app is better than other. In fact, with my clients and students and things, I don't tell you to go on a specific app, because you find literally freaks and fantastic people, whether it be on Tinder, whether it be on the most niche and expensive website. Let me say that again. You find freaks in expensive online places too, okay? And you also find fantastic people on Tinder. In fact, one of the best matches I've ever seen came from guys on Tinder, okay, where the guy was like Indian guy, okay, Indian guy from super, educated family of like doctors and lawyers and major entrepreneurs that owned half the city, like perfectly Hindu, like perfectly moral, like really good family people from India on Tinder. Okay. Mm-hmm. So and this is not an outlier. This is not an exception. There's plenty of normal people on Tinder. What happens with free apps? So let's talk about free apps. So free apps, of course, if someone is broke, they're more likely to go on a free app. So if you're going on free apps, you're going to need to be more careful to make sure you are dating someone or you are going out with someone that is of your socioeconomic selected background. Okay, so different women of different socioeconomic backgrounds date men of their similar background. Now, in my practice, I teach you to date someone that can take care of you and your babies or offspring whenever you do get married, right? So naturally, in my practice, I teach you to rule that out, okay? Rule anyone out who would not have the value of being a protector and provider to you, okay? So that's the first thing to say about free apps, okay? That you're going to have a more keen eye, and then that's very, very easy to rule out. Like, obviously, like, you will see, where this person wants to take you. Like, there's just so many ways of knowing, like, immediately what kind of, and their background and what they do. So that's another thing, right? Let's talk about the guys' profiles. If they don't have enough information about what they are into, sort of what they do, kind of like if you can't get a clear picture of, or like you are profiling a guy just like he is profiling you. So let's talk about this. So what, job interviews, like university applications, they are profiling you. In dating, whether it be online or offline, you're profiling each other. Profiling means that you're gauging whether someone is a suitable match for you. Okay, this is what profiling is. Are you guys a match? He's trying to see if you are his dream girl or if you are an easy low-hanging fruit that he can take for the moment. Okay? Which one are you? Are you guys a match? Okay, so in profiling, you'll be able to see, okay, is this guy showing, sort of a clear picture of who he is and what he does? Because it really matters when it's a man, what he does. Is he a student? Is he sitting at home in his parents' basement? This matters, okay? Because if you're looking for marriage, do you want to move to a guy's base, like mommy's basement? Do you want that? Well, go for it. If you want a proper family and things, right, it's going to matter. So making sure you are looking at someone that gives you a clear picture of who they are and their personality. Okay. Yeah, there's people who lie, and you can tell that very quickly. Okay, unless they are a major con artist, right? But in my practice and in my one-on-one coachings, I definitely, and I cover that in my course too, how to detect predator guys or con artists, whatever you want to call them, right? But it's just like you see it in person, just like you would rule out someone in person, same thing online. So again, the message is, if it's someone that you didn't know, like, think about an example. Like, maybe the safest introduction you can have is, like, say, I don't know, maybe your mom is let's see, just trying to think. Maybe your mom's best friend has a son, and you have known these people, or she has known these people for like 10 years. Okay, so maybe then it's maybe the safest, in that you already really know their background. But anything other than that, you don't know. You don't know shit all. Like, whoever you meet at a party or a friend introduced you, even then, like, you don't know their full, like, family history. Like, are his parents divorced? Like, this is stuff that you'll have to find out if it's not someone like you have known for centuries. Okay, so what about apps? Because this is a very common question. What about apps for rich men? Okay, because this question comes out a lot. Okay, so there's two things. One of them is guys that, are rich guys that are putting themselves out there with this label or with this persona. They are looking for a reciprocal, right? Which is a girl that is there for money, specifically, or for the most, or first and foremost, right? So are you this type of girl that is looking for this type of or scenario? In my practice, I am a true believer of having a relationship where you guys are crazy about each other, really into each other, and also you are a fantastic match in terms of values and all of that stuff. You know, it's never been my experience that this type of stuff, experience or belief, that you can't find it pretty much all in a normal relationship, right? So for the ladies out there that are looking for the rich man specifically in those websites, you're going to be dealing with a lot of the things that come with that. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys that are, you know, pretending to be rich too, perhaps. So keep that in mind, right? So none of my clients or myself ever like went into those websites. You don't need to. Like, your normal, like, more common websites for people who want to get married, those are really good, right? The ones that have a specific goal of getting married. But again, even like going on Tinder, if you have on your profile that you're looking to find Prince Charming and get married to someone fantastic, right? So let's talk about it quickly, right? So a lot of people believe that for you to be super like mysterious and like interesting, you need to hide this fact that you want something serious and you want to get married. In fact, not something serious, because that's another topic, because in today's, like, Western modern world, something serious is not something serious. Okay. So you need to be someone that has owned the fact that you want to get married, and that word is going to rule out a lot of time wasters that don't have that desire or intention whatsoever. Obviously, not everybody will want to marry you, and you won't want to marry everyone. Obviously, right? So that's why we have the whole dating thing, right? So with the apps that are more niche towards the whole money topic, be careful, because then you're getting into that world of like the oldest profession in the world, right? Like, do you really want to go there, right? And also in normal apps, you'll have guys of like adequate, like, incomes and educations and backgrounds, right? I've heard about, yeah, so again, the apps that have like this specific, like, let's just say a little too niche, can also have their drawbacks, right? Too niche in terms of like fitness people, and like, again, the money thing, or like celebrity, they all come with their drawbacks and things, right? So my clients find their husbands that are perfectly awesome in common normal apps. I don't tell them in which app to go, because there's crazy people everywhere and there's amazing people everywhere. Just like when you go out in the street, is the same story, right? So yeah, ladies, like, if you go into dating apps with a specific mentality that one is safer than the other one, I really don't think so, because I don't think so, and I haven't seen that in my coaching practice. Because again, in some of the most, apps that you could think they're safe, there's some crazy horror stories, and also the best stories on Tinder. Like, I met my husband on Facebook, in an app like centuries ago, right? Like 13 years ago, that was called Are You Interested? Which was like literally a Tinder version on Facebook. And again, he's a protector and provider husband of like a good family and all that. So, it's you who is deciding who you continue to see, whether it be online or offline. It's you who is to do the vetting, okay? Whoever it is you're dating, if you're not vetting them and investigating them and looking at their backgrounds, then you're going to be shocked and surprised with a lot of stuff, right? So no matter who, or where you meet someone, again, unless it's your mom's best friend or something like that, someone extremely close to your circle, you're going to have to really vet everyone and really, take your, I wouldn't say necessarily take your time, maybe, maybe some time, but time is not necessarily a correlation of getting to know someone. In fact, a big portion of what I teach is like, we don't like getting to know someone is not necessarily like correlated to time, because people's values tend to not change over time. People's values tend to remain very similar, across their lives. So again, if you're not dating for marriage and dating for specific values that you seek, then you're going to find yourself, again, going back to the framework, right? Like if you're dating without strategy, without knowing what you're looking for, well, duh, right? Like you're going to bump into a train wreck or into a mess. You go in with a mess yourself, you're going to find a mess, right? Because you don't know what you want. Huge thing. When you're going online and into dating apps and you don't know what you want and you just want to date, well, don't be shocked if you find all kinds of random scenarios, right? Like, why are you crying in the corners that you're not finding the love of your life and your husband and things when you can't even like A, admit that to yourself, and B, come up with a strategy right about it, right? So that's what some of us like dating and relationship coaches like help you with, right? In my dating for marriage course, this is literally, we cover online dating and vetting people and all of that stuff to a T, right? So let me know if that's something that interests you, if you are getting ready to be in that capacity. So what else, ladies, can we talk about? Apps, dating apps. There's really not a lot to it. I don't know, I mean, I do know why it's so scary and creepy, but it's the exact same issues. Oh, the due diligence that you're not doing in person is the same lack of due diligence that you're not doing in online dating. Okay, or in apps for the apps, that kind of thing, right? So for example, going back to like certain like niche apps in particular, is like when you go to a club, okay? Like say, I don't know, like say, this is a bad example, I think, like a church, okay? So you are religious and you're going to a church and you want to find your significant other, your future husband at church, right? Well, I myself, I grew up with that example, right? Like I grew up in a very, very religious you know, family and background and upbringing. And literally the most fucked up people I've met in my entire life were in these places. So, and you know, I met my husband online in something similar to Tinder. So it's like, dude, really, like, really and truly, there's freaks everywhere. There's amazing people everywhere. You just have to be alert, see, come with a plan, see, like, really pay attention to certain specific things, have a code of conduct, right? Like, don't go to a stranger's house. But believe it or not, like, people are going to strangers' houses for dinner. They're being cooked dinner. Someone you've seen, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, right? So yeah, you know, like, if you don't have a really sharp, you know, intuition, and if you're not really good with, like, gauging people, like, don't do things like that, right? So anyway, ladies, that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments if you have a particular issue you'd like to discuss when it comes to online dating, and we'll be talking about it. Alrighty, so that's all for now. Bye.